Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Is that just me? That sounds like an Elvis Presley movie. Viva Da Nang. Oh, Viva Da Nang. Denying me while you're open highway. Hey, it's a bit too early to be loud. Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's that O stand for? Oh my god, it's early. Speaking of early, thank you for that Marty Krog Grove man down there. Thank you, Marty. Does that silky smooth sound make me sound like Peggy Lee? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Howdy there, everybody in chat. I hope we're all doing a splendid time tonight, because guess what? It is time for this live stream. Oop, I apologize there. I don't know what happened. Let's get this back in session, shall we? Hey, ladies and gentlemen. How goes it? It is me, the Tank Commander. Surprised to see me after such a long time? I'm sure you probably are. And guess what? I got my new live stream going. That's right. I got this going on Twitch now. And as you guys can see, hey, check it out. Look what popped up there. What do you guys think of my overlay? You like it? It's a World of Tanks theme. And I already see in chat we got House Seller there. Good to see ya. I saw you just followed today. So, I'd like to know, who else is in chat today? I see we got 3 viewers so far. Let's see who's calling out there. Let's see. I got my little live dashboard going on my phone here. So we'll see who is here. Let's see, let's see what's going on, shall we? We got, as you can see, we got my live stream here. It's a World of Tanks theme. If you look up in the top, as I'm pointing straight up right now, you can see that is my Discord channel. So if you get the app called Discord, you'll be able to go on there and you'll be able to chat with people who are following me. And it's basically, if you're looking at it, it's to your right. That is my YouTube channel there. And if you look at the very far corner of the screen over there, that's my Twitch channel. So that will be able to show you that you guys want to show your support. Feel free to follow any of the 3 links you got above. And yeah, and if you are watching right now, is if you go down and you look below the screen, I have also created a new donations tab. So that way we can keep this great stream going and be able to have more fun times like this. And I do hope you liked my Good Morning Vietnam little bit by Robin Williams as Adrian Cronauer from the from the movie. If any of you have seen that, feel free to speak out in chat. And as we all know, if you guys remember my video from the previous stream that was supposed to happen, which was on the 21st of December, well, let's just say it took a long time to get this stream up and running. Now, let's see, if anybody's watching in chat, feel free to speak up, because I'm not seeing any new chat messages so far. Oh, speaking of chat, I also wanted to let you guys know, if you guys remembered, I have 10 chat rules that I'd like you guys to follow. As a history major, I am a very formal person, and I do not like a lot of slang or any of those, like anything that is inappropriate, vulgar, or profane. However, my one exception, I will say, is you guys can feel free to call me a Polak anytime you want. Because guess what? I am a Polak. I'm Polish. So feel free to shout that out in chat. And if you guys don't know how to spell it, well, we'll just laugh and see who attempts to go in chat, okay? So yeah, I got my new stream going. You saw the preview screen there. That was of the, in case anybody is wondering, that is the Cromwell, which is the British Tier 6 medium tank in the game. I say it's a pretty fun tank. I have it in World of Tanks Blitz, which is the mobile version of the game. If any of you don't know, feel free to watch my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see that. And anybody who wants to come and see things, feel free. So also, we also have, as you're looking right here, so this screen, as you see right here, is the face cam that is coming directly from my laptop, which is out in front of me. That's why I'm so far away. And this right here is from my little Logitech 920C webcam that one of my coworkers actually gave me. And I really gotta shout that out to you, Mr. Tristan, if you're listening. I thank you very much for that. And what you see here, what is this? This right here, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna laugh at this. this is actually an old train table that I had when I was little. I briefly gave it over to my cousin, who is, well, more than a decade younger than me, but he loves the railroads just like I do. What's that? You guys didn't know that I like the railroads? If you follow part of my videos on my channel, you'd see there's plenty of railroading videos there. If you watch that Amtrak one, you'll see just how quick it can go. But yeah, this is original, as you see. Believe it or not, another funny thing is, on the side here, where you see my hand on the webcam, there are stickers on the side of this. So, it comes in mighty handy. And even the old storage bins are now storage for my streaming stuff and my filming equipment. And if you're wondering what this is down here, you'll probably see a little glowing screen. That is my iPad here. And, oh, if anybody wants to ask any questions about what they see on the face cam, feel free to post it in chat, because I'm willing to answer those questions. But yeah, this is my first time streaming now, and I can't believe how I am getting all this, because I was never expecting this to work so well like this, and seeing how it looks now, it is absolutely brilliant. Now, I was thinking about creating custom overlays, however, I thought about that, but I'm like, you know, I'm just going to follow fellow World of Tanks, World of Tanks players, I should say, not streamers, because I do not stream World of Tanks, because, as again, for those who have seen my streams in the past, this is a laptop, and I do not have a gaming computer or anything yet. So, basically, you're seeing part of my room right now, and I know what you're seeing on the webcam is not the best quality. However, I will say this though, I will do the best I can, but the main thing is not to focus on me, it's to focus on what's down here. Because, as you guys know with my info, we're going to be doing kit building and modeling. I'm going to attempt to do mobile gaming at some point if I can get somewhat of a capture card. I don't have that right now, but hopefully at some point in the near future we'll be able to be getting it. And, yeah, I mean, so I see that there are still people in chat. Who hasn't shouted out in chat there? I see that we got people following, but who's watching? I'd like to know, because I'm sure there are new faces here that would love to introduce themselves. So tell me, who's hanging with us tonight? Stunning silence, no doubt. Sorry, just had to do a little comedy bit there. Oh, I just remembered something. For anybody who is following the stream right now, there are other streamers that I encourage you guys to go follow. Because guess what? You'll love streamers. If you like things like the stuff that I like the online gaming and the modeling and stuff, mainly the online gaming, but if you want to go on to have a really, really, really fun time, then there's plenty of people here. House Seller, thank you for that. So, just to say, here's one thing. For streamers that you can follow, I can name a bunch of them for you, but some of the most prominent I'll name right now. One of the best streamers that I follow has to be Mr. 06 Walst. That's 0, not O, that's 06 WALLST. Now you may think that's Wall Street, but it's pronounced 06 Walst, okay? And there are plenty of other streamers that are around. There's also his friend, Tardis Who. Now that's TARDIS_Who, WHO. And other than that, we also have their friend Tanis, Tanis77, that's TANIS77. Just be aware, he's French, so you're going to be hearing him speak in French. Oui, oui, oh. And there's there's plenty of people out there as well. I mostly follow Wargamers. Wargamers who are listening out there will probably know the name Flambas. He's Croatian, and he does World of Warships live stream. Oh dear. Nuts. I'm sorry, my headphones apparently decided to quit. So we will have to switch up the tactics a little bit and go back with the old wired ones. So let's do that. Actually, hang on just a second. Actually, no, we'll have to do that. I do apologize for that, folks. I was not expecting my my wireless headphones to go out like that, and they're brand new, so we'll have to figure that out. But hey, I still got a headset with a mouthpiece. So, and these are both from Turtle Beach, and I gotta say these headphones work great. So what we're gonna do in the meantime is we are going to charge this one up. I think it's probably something that has to do with the computer or whatever, but no matter, we can still make it work. I was not expecting that to happen, so, well, doesn't matter. Hey, if you're wired, it still works. So, I'm gonna connect it to my pocket there. Okay, so that should still work now. Alright, so, I know it's late, so a lot of people aren't going to be watching, but, hey, we're still here. And you know, speaking of new things, I actually just got something new, and I actually stopped at House Seller's place to pick this up. If you guys want to see it, I'll show it to you anyways. Alright, so, here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to show this to you guys on the webcam, alright? Because it'll show it in a lot more clarity, alright? For any of you World of Tanks players out there who know this, this is the Stridsvagn 103B, or the Swedish Tier 10 tank destroyer. Now, be careful how you say that, folks. It may be a tank destroyer in the game, but you have to remember, this is not a tank destroyer in real life. This is a main battle tank. If you call it a tank destroyer, the Swedes will get very upset about it. That's right, all you Svensks. I'm talking about you. And you're probably wondering, why is it that this tank looks like that when it doesn't even have a turret? It's because the Swedish military doctrine stipulated that it was not to be offensive, it was to be defensive only. After all, Sweden is a neutral country, so you have to be very careful at which countries in the world you antagonize, because there are plenty of neutral countries out there, like Spain, Switzerland, and of course, Sweden. Now, you're probably wondering, why in God's name does this thing look like that? Well, it's, as I said, the defensive doctrine, because if you look at this from the front, that's basically what you're looking at. That armor is extremely well sloped. Okay, you turn that to the side, like that. There's literally nothing there to hit. Okay? No matter what types of rounds you fire, it would be a high chance of the rounds to just bounce off, and that's especially important with these thick parts on the sides of the gun. Basically, many would say that this thing's gun isn't even a part of the tank. Well, that depends, because you have to look at the tank destroyers on World of Tanks, because the ones before this, like the 103O, is basically a similar model, but the purpose of this was so that you basically dig it down into a position, like, I'll put an example. So say, like, right here, this edge is the ground, okay? It'd be sitting like that. So, just imagine, there's like a slope in front of this. All you're looking at is the gun and an extremely well-sloped thing, or well-sloped armor. So, that being said, this is literally what it was meant to do. It was meant to go down in what was known as a hull down position, okay? this part right here is the hull. Basically, this tank is nothing but hull because it has no turret. So, when it goes hull down like that, and this is one thing, it has what's known as hydropneumatic suspension, which means that if you want to angle down, the suspension makes the hull do that. And if you want to angle up, the suspension will do that for you. So basically, no matter what, and this thing has a blistering reverse speed. Okay? So this thing can get out of trouble quickly, which means it can basically drive out of the battle in reverse and still have its gun pointed towards the enemy. Now, because it doesn't have a turret, I'm not sure how practical that would be. However, it's granted that this thing has an incredible design. Now, because the Swedes nowadays have been looking to get better tanks, like the main battle tank after this one was the Vickers MBT, which was basically similar to Centurion. And they turned that into, well, the common term for tank with the Swedes is stridsvagn. And as I did say, I'm a history major, I'm very formal, so I appreciate the languages that are spoken, so I say stridsvagn. Okay? At first, I remember years ago when I said stridsvagen, and then that's not it, because that's German, and you can't say that. But anyway, the most recent vehicles for the Swedes are the Leopards. I think it's the Leopard 2A5, I believe. But either way, they're all called stridsvagn. Okay, every country basically has its designation for it. Like for example, the Poles have PT, which I'm guessing I'm guessing the P stands for Polski, because that's Polish. And you have the Italians, which have the CA, which stands for Carro Armato. And you have the Germans. They don't usually use these terms anymore. They call basically Panzer. Panzer means armor, and that basically means tank. And the Russians have the T, which technically stands for tank, which is literally Russian for tank. But I'm getting way too off topic of this live stream here. So we're just gonna put this new boy away right now. I got plenty of other things to show you guys if you guys want to see them. So if you guys do want to see them, feel free to speak out in chat. And also just as I did say, anybody in chat, feel free to call me a Polak all you want, because guess what? That's what I am. I'm a Polak. So while you guys wait and discover yourselves in chat, or feel free to introduce yourselves or anything, I'm just going to drop a line to a fellow streamer and just let them know that I'm around. So just a heads up, in case anybody wonders, we have a thing in Twitch called a raid. And what that means is somebody will literally come from their stream and raid my stream with viewers. So stay tuned, because if anybody attempts to raid us, we'll know, because you'll see it pop up on the screen. But oh dear, I knocked the thing out. Beginner's mistakes. What do you expect? Just put that back in there. Okay. So I'll just drop this a line and just let him know. Okay, get that out of the way. No, forgot to minimize that, so. But yes, I see that we got 2 people following. So I see, how's Seller? I see you're in the chat. Who else is in chat right now? Because I see we got 2 viewers right now. Oh, make that 1. Although you saw that on the screen. But yes, so what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to be building some very interesting building kits tonight. And I gotta say, I bet you World of Tanks players out there are really going to be interesting. Or interested, I should say. So, what are we going to be doing first? I'm going to grab the kit for you guys. So, make sure to watch this, because I'm going to show it to you guys on the webcam and not on the face cam. That way you guys can see it a lot clearer, alright? So stand by. I'm just going to go grab the kit right now. Alright, so I got that, and this time I'm actually just going to clip this to my belt here, that way it's more secure. Okay, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to see this? Are you guys ready? Alright, so here's the kit, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys ready? Here we go. What do you think of this, World of Tanks players? What you are seeing is the Lego Jägeru, the Lego Jagdpanzer Entwicklung 100, the Jagdpanzer E100, the German Tier 10 super heavy tank destroyer with the 170mm gun on the E100 chassis. Isn't this thing sexy? This is going to be fun. I guarantee that if anybody from World of Tanks drops in and sees this, they're gonna be surprised. So, if anybody had watched from my previous streams, I had done some other Kobe kits before, but those were, well, much smaller. And this thing had to come directly from Poland, because I had bought this during the, I'm sure everybody probably knows, it's the Black November month last year. Like, it wasn't the Black Friday, because guess what? The Black Friday was basically the last day of November last year. So I bought this, but it was on back order, so it had to come to the museum where I saw it on the website, because the person told me that they were not expecting this to be this popular, believe it or not. So basically, this is awesome. I cannot wait to see how this is. So, if anybody remembers from my last streams, what kind of tools are we going to need? Plain and simple. We got this, which is a multi-tool for any types of little things that we're going to need. So, have that on hand. You have your brick remover, which means you can remove pieces without needing to use your teeth or anything. We got a more unique brick remover, which is probably going to come in more handy for the next kit that comes after this. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the good old X-Acto blade for modeling. That way you can cut bags open and all that and get everything rolling. So, without further ado, we're going to cut this box open. Good thing this thing's so big, so I can basically just cut the side off. Pop it open and dump all the bags out. Simple and smooth. Awesome, isn't it? We're going to put the box right next to us. As I did say before, anything that you have that is garbage, keep your boxes handy. That way you can put the garbage in the box. Alright? So, we have our nifty little instruction manual with us. Get it all nice and flat for us, as you can see. And I'll be showing you guys throughout the stream the how things are connected together. So again, make sure to watch the little webcam, and we'll be moving on with this. So, yes, that's the biggest thing that you want to watch for. You want to watch for bags that's got numbers on them. You see that number there? It's a 3. We got 3, we got 4, there's the 1, and there's the 2. And of course, with all big kits, it comes with these larger black pieces to start off. I mean, of course, that's just basically common sense there. So, as we are going to go on... Oh, yes, I also did forget. We got the nifty little stickers here. I know it's kind of hard to read because of... Oh, there you go. You guys see those things? You can see things like Tiger, Berlin, Jäger, Johann, and a whole bunch... Junge Hansel, and a whole bunch of other things. And, of course, especially the Deutsches Balkenkreuz. And that's the German Balkan Cross, which was the common practice of painting for knowing what vehicles were friendly back then. Of course, I mean, anybody should know that. We had the Allied White Star. The French had their little tricolore in the circle. And the British had the red and white striping. The Russians had the Red Star, and the Germans had the Balkenkreuz. I can't say for certain if the Japanese had any symbols or anything. If anybody knows any of that, feel free to send that message in chat and I'll be watching. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to cut bag number 1 open. And always remember, when using an X-Acto blade, and you need to do something with force, cut away from you, not towards you. That way, you'll be able to get things out. Oh yeah. So basically, with the bags and the garbage, it goes similarly down. Keep the smaller bags, that way the even smaller bags can go in there, and then in the box. Alright? So, what we're also going to do is we're going to take the separate bags, and we are going to move them over here. Okay, so you see, those are my drinks there, alright? Nobody get any confused. It's not beer or anything. I may be 21, but I'm having Sunny D. Because at this hour of the night here in Western New York, we got plenty of energy for the night. So, time to cut these bags open, as you see. And frankly, always remember, if you're going to be using this stuff, make sure that you want to have it on a surface that you're not necessarily going to care about, or have something to protect the surface. That way, everything will be protected from scratches and whatnot. I don't usually use the term whatnot, but and always remember in these kits to keep things in separate piles, because that way things don't get confused. Now you're probably going to notice with bag 1 is that there are a lot of black pieces. Well, that's because in order to build the hull of the Jagdpanzer up, you have to start with black pieces. Not all pieces can be the same color and all that. You'll probably hear me say whatnot a lot, so feel free to keep count in chat if you guys want. But the reason why I have this table is because it's the perfect surface to build this stuff, because you don't need to worry about it. It's not gonna really suffer any super major damage. It's supported underneath. It's got the cross numbers and all that. And yeah, I mean, you can feel free to do anything you guys want on it. And if you guys accidentally scratch something like this, hey, guess what? It's a scratch, it's already there, and well, it's a surface that is basically expendable. I apologize if you guys hear any of the noise. Not saying you do. But we drop this in, and we got everything going now. And I'm sure, as you guys saw in my chat rules, you can feel free to ask questions about the stuff if you guys like. Or if you're new to the stream, feel free to just let me know. And feel free to hit the follow button if you guys are enjoying it. Because that way it'll make me know that you guys enjoyed it and I can continue to do streams like this. Alright? Alright, so here are that garbage bag in the box. Sorry, I'm just on this like old chair. You have to realize, like, I've been in this room for My room originally didn't look like this, believe it or not. It's only looked like this for the past, like, 5-6 years. Before that, it looked a lot different. The walls were blue, I had carpet and all that. But this chair that I'm sitting in, I've basically had for, like, say, at least a decade now. Oh. Well, house seller, if you think I'm going to not build the whole thing, you ain't been here long enough. Or frankly, for you, house seller, you ain't known me long enough. Okay, so we start off with the big piece as you guys are watching. So make sure you guys will be watching down here. All right. Now, if you have any questions, say of the stuff that's in my my face cam, feel free to ask those questions, and I will do my best to answer them. As I said, I'll be seeing things on both my screen and my dashboard thing, so I'll be able to see it both ways. Alright? Made a stinking rookie mistake, and I grabbed the wrong piece for the first freaking step. I laugh at myself sometimes for doing rookie mistakes like that, and I've been building with Lego blocks and stuff like that all my life. So, here's a little tip for you. Many pieces often look similar, alright? They're different lengths, but they're similar types of pieces. So what you want to do is when you look at the instructions, I'll give an example here. As you look right here, we're looking for a piece like this. So, what you have to do is, you need to count in the picture. So if you look on this piece right here, how many prongs are on that piece, meaning the prongs that stick up. That way you can get it connected to another piece. So we're going to check and see. We need 4 of them. 10 prongs. Basically, yep, this is 1. And basically you find, for this step, we want to find 3 more of them. Basically, it's simple master building logic. And I know this is a kit, but I've built things a lot more intricate than this. I'd be happy to show you guys, but that's not going to be until, like, later streams. Which reminds me, I just remembered this, guys. Basically, you guys are going to be in this room for kits, for stuff like this, these big building kits. And for model kits and stuff like that, like the thing you saw me with there before, the Stridsvagn, those are actually going to be built down in my basement. So you'll be able to see that too. But I don't want to give too many spoilers because that's still a while down the road, and I need to know if you guys are enjoying the stream or not. Because if you guys aren't enjoying the stream, then you guys gotta let me know if there's anything that you guys want me to do or anything. But again, remember, with the online gaming and whatnot, I can't necessarily do that because, once again, what you're seeing from is a laptop. And for anybody, again, who doesn't know, feel free to go look up some of my previous videos on my YouTube channel, and you'll see for yourself just what I'm talking about with seeing it from my laptop. So, with our next step, we gotta get 4 large pieces. Basically, I can recognize certain pieces. It all depends on what's in the. It all depends on what's in the kit. So, also, we need 10. Now, these are some interesting. These are interesting pieces right here. So, that's gonna be this pile over here. So these are 2x2s, but if you look, basically, see that right there? The 2 prongs in the middle? Always remember that when you look at pieces in the book, make sure you check what pieces they are in the kit. Because if you accidentally grab something wrong, you're not usually going to notice it until way down the line, which has happened to me several times before. I laugh at the total incompetence that I display when I've been building with Legos all my life and I still make rookie mistakes like that. But then again, everybody does make mistakes at times, so we need 10 of them. And just check and see that we still have enough. Alright, so we do. Oh, see, I just noticed. I grabbed the wrong thing. It was a 2x2 with 4 prongs. So now we gotta move on, and so now I got everything now, so we should have everything set up. So now we move on to the next step, and we're going to start building up the chassis of this thing. And I gotta tell you guys, when I get the chance, I'll show you guys some more of these things that I did build. Because if you noticed on the box, this thing is a custom World of Tanks model. That's right, World of Tanks. You're not going to see this in a regular kit. So, if you guys are interested, okay, Houseseller already knows this because she's seen the sites before. You can feel free to go and check out 2 sites that sells this stuff, this is a Polish company called Kobi. The first one is the Kobi HQ webpage, which is kobi.pl. PL means it's a Polish site. So just be aware, it will give you it in English, but you'll get a little notification in Polish at the bottom that'll basically just be explaining about it, accepting cookies and whatnot. And then the other one is the AAF Tank Museum, which happens to be in Danville, in Virginia. If you guys go on my YouTube channel above, with the what's known as the Tri-State Trip, you'll be able to see that museum. Alright? And when you go onto the website, what you're going to do is you're going to click Shop, and then you're going to go over to the side panel. You're going to click, you're going to find this funny, you're going to click Toys, and then when it shows you the options, you're going to click Kobi Blocks. Alright? And then that's going to show you these things. And believe it or not, the Jagdpanzer was in there, which surprised me greatly when I saw it, because that's the reason. Like, you have to watch, because a lot of those things will be on back order, and I'm sure Houseseller knows this because she's gotten that stuff before. But to say the least, it's still an interesting thing when you buy these things, because guess what? It's just one of those intricacies that when you're on the computer, because believe it or not, it's just one of those things. I mean, nobody's perfect, but you'll still laugh at yourself sometimes, like I do to myself. And I'm sure all the streamers that I follow, oh yes, I just remembered. Ah, I'm such a numbnut. I just remembered. There are other streamers that I forgot to name for you. Another one is called Grindler Gaming. That's GrindlerGaming. Of course, most people, like 06 Waltz, who's one of her friends, calls her Gunny, as do I. So you can feel free, and she plays on World of Tanks North American server, or NA, and you can feel free because she often streams. I believe she does Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I believe. You could probably check her channel for her stream schedule on that. But she mostly does sync drops, which means that if anybody is on the stream or anything, or is on World Tanks NA, you'll do sync drops, or when they exclude certain maps and all that, and they do drops of the matches, and hoping that you'll either get in battles with her or against her. Preferably with, as she does say. And, yeah, I mean, feel free to go and check these channels out. Like I said, you got 06 Waltz, Toddis Who, Grindler Gaming, Tanis77. There are other streamers, like I said, with Wargaming community contributors. You have Rita Gamer 2. She's a good streamer. She's from Portugal. She lives in the UK with one of my favorite YouTubers, the Mighty Jingles. And there's also Quickie Baby, who is a World of Tanks live streamer as well. There's also TC Freer, who is a World of Warships community contributor. There are plenty of others. You got Iki Boo, you got Klaus Kellerman, you got Thomas Asamasa. There's a lot of streamers you can feel free to look up. Because I'll tell you this much, if you guys want some fun, I do encourage you guys to check out those channels. Because you don't always have to just follow me. Though, of course, hey, this is my stream, so I'm saying, of course you want to try and follow me. That's saying that I am a full-time streamer like they are, because I still have college and whatnot. But it's still fun to feel free to pop in and just, yeah, go and follow them. You want to have a good laugh. Definitely go follow 06 Waltz above all of them. Because I'll tell you this much, if you in certain streams where I have followed him, I could not stop laughing my lungs out or crying my eyes out from laughter because it was just so freaking hilarious listening to him. Though granted, as I will say, when you do follow his stream, you do need what is known as a thick skin, okay? Because some things they say are mildly offensive, but again, that all depends on who you decide to follow. And of course they'll say it to you guys, so you guys can feel free to go and check them out. But again, remember, don't go in there and be this little punk and thinking you're going to be able to get away with anything you can in their chat, because his moderator, Peabody, will get you for that. Okay? He's gotten me before. Okay, but that's because, well, I wasn't used to it and all that. So basically, if I was to say it in short, you'll learn your lesson real quickly. So, again, remember, it's called... oh, yes, and for 06 Walls, if you want to follow his YouTube channel is called Honest Gaming, so you can feel free to follow him on there as well, and you'll see clips and things from his streams. My favorite things are his what's known as stream shenanigans, which means you'll be able to go on there and watch all the highlights and stuff from his stream. And if you do get a chance, feel free to drop in and say hi and just let them know that I sent you there, but don't embezzle me with it. I'm just redirecting people to streams that I think they might enjoy. But yeah, so continuing on with the kit, there's large numbers of things. As you're seeing, you basically want to keep your pieces together, alright? And of course, we're going to be at this for a while, so I hope everybody has prepared themselves for some engaging model building and stuff like that. And if you, as I did say, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask them. And if I miss them in chat, feel free to send them again. But I do ask that you guys not spam these messages, alright? Do not spam messages, because the bots will catch you for that. And what I mean by that is, we have stream elements watching over the stream. So if you guys happen to be watching and you see a link pop up, you will be able to see that link from thanks to stream elements. That's because I'm not currently working with anybody on the stream. I do not have any partnerships or anything. I do not have enough followers. So you guys can feel free to get out there and start sending people messages to start following, because hey, the more I can do this, the more that means I can make you guys happy. And yeah, I mean, what can I say? I love making people happy. It's just one of those things that is me. It's a funny thing in the world. I wish more people would make more people happy, because you know something? The world is crazy. Alright? And that's just to say the least. That's just to say the least of it all. But then again, what do I know? I'm just one stubborn Pollock with an antique soul. Heh. Alright, so we are moving on with the connections, and we are going to start connecting these up here. Alright, so I'll show you the steps right here. So here we are. This is what it looks like so far. I know, it basically looks like nothing. Some people in the chat will probably be looking and be like, that doesn't even look a thing like what is on the box. Well, guess what? You gotta build, believe it or not, you have to build this thing. You have to build every one of these kits from the inside out. And the reason for that is because that's just how these kits are. In order for you to build the outside and the exterior pieces, you have to be able to build the interior first, which for a lot of them is not much, but if you build these things, it just shows you that they're a lot more intricate than you think. And further on that note, for anybody who is a master Lego builder out there, I'm not proclaiming myself as one of the greatest. You have to be rather patient for building with Legos, because you need to be able to think and you need to be able to get those ideas. Because if you're able to get those ideas, then you'll be able to be successful. Of course, also you do have to realize you need to have the pieces with you. And of course, with me, I've basically taken I've literally taken several of my old sets apart and literally just completely created brand new things. Like, of course, anybody who has followed my channel before will know that I am a big military fan, so I've literally taken those pieces and literally built them into these World War II things, and of course, it takes time, so anytime that you want to do something like that, you need to have the time and you need to have the want to do it. And of course, I'm probably preaching to the choir for a lot of people out there, so I'm going to just cut that out, because obviously that boat obviously sailed a long time ago. But either way, it is still a thing to talk about, because, hey, I like conversation. But on this channel, if you guys want conversation, you guys need to be the ones to open up and start the conversation, because I can't be the one to start all the conversations. Because I know I'm not like Honest Gaming or anything, because they'll have those little things in chat. But with me, my channel relies on you guys to put your input into chat. So, any help that you guys can show in order to keep the chat alive and running, feel free to put that in the chat. Like, just say something random if you guys want. But again, keep it positive, keep it away from any strict or like off-limits topics. Like, I'm sure you obviously saw which ones I have strict rules on in chat, but again, I am sure that you guys will be able to work it out, because guess what? It's just a stream, so you guys will feel free. So, and anybody who is not able to see this stream on Twitch, or for those who don't follow Twitch, can feel free to go onto my YouTube channel once I get this thing done recording, and I'll be able to send it out to YouTube, and you guys will be able to see it from there. So, props up for that as well. But as I did say, if you're going to watch my videos, you need to have a long attention span. Or if you guys saw in chat, it's what the Germans call Sitzfleisch. Sitzfleisch. And what that means is that it's the ability to sit through something long and boring. And I'm sure many of you probably think this is boring. Well, I do my best, so it's all up to you. Excuse me a moment. Oh, finish that. It's funny. That's my third one today, and I got my fourth one right there. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure everybody is, I mean, obviously everybody is online now, because guess what? It's a crazy, crazy time out there, because everybody is basically home if they're not working. Like, I'm not working tonight, so that's why I'm able to do this stream. And, they're difficult times, but hey, I did this stream so I can make light of these difficult times, and that's why I need you guys out there to show your support in the chat. So, again, feel free to state anything. Home seller, if you're still out there listening, or excuse me, house seller, if you're still out there listening, feel free to voice yourself in chat, because hey, anybody that can get anything going is greatly appreciated. Oh, excuse me. I was not expecting that one to come. Alright, so now we're starting to... So here's what we look like with the chassis so far. You see right there? Alright, so now it's showing for the next step. We're now going to start getting the sides ready to when we start putting the suspension wheels on. And for this vehicle, it is a very elaborate type of suspension. Basically, everything with this stuff is what's known as double torsion bar. Alright? In case anybody is confused to what that means, is torsion bar basically means It's a bar that kind of looks like an S, sort of, just bent straight and not curved. And the wheels are on that bar, and inside the chassis are these springs, and when it goes over a rough terrain or something, the tank's suspension bounces. Double torsion bar means that it is basically doubled up. What that means is instead of having the wheels singly, you got the one level that's behind, and you got the one level that's outside. That, in turn, during the Second World War, proved very difficult, because the unfortunate thing is that the whenever those double torsion bars got mud and stuff stuck in it, they were very and when that stuff froze, it became incredibly difficult trying to knock that stuff out of the suspension. And if a suspension wheel has to be changed, those things will end up getting how it works is, in order to remove a rear one, okay, so basically with the Tiger, it was basically tripled up. There was the inside, the middle, and the outside. In order to change one that was in the back, what they had to do was they had to remove, okay? You're going to find this funny, alright? They had to remove the one from the front, they had to remove 3 on the front, those 2 in the middle, and then the one in the back. Which I find to be a ludicrously asinine thing that literally just made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now, of course, they needed to have that type of double torsion bar suspension in order for it to move with those tracks. But of course, with the Entwicklung is known as a standard series. All right, it's basically, it was supposed to be like a standard series in weight. As people know, in the game, you have the E-25, which is the German Tier 7 tank destroyer, which, I will say again, it is known as the cockroach by those people. However, again, I say that's technically incorrect, because in real life, the cockroach was the Polish TKS tankette, and I have a book to prove that. So, basically saying, if you're gonna, like I said, if you're going to argue history with me, you need to have evidence to back it up. But again, that Entwicklung series was basically a series to be able to challenge the enemy, but also to ease production. So you had basically you had tiny tank destroyers going down to the E5, which was like a modified version of one of the early war tankette tank destroyers, which was extremely tiny. And then you had its big brother, the E10, then there was the E25, and then going up from there you had the medium tank, which was the E50, which in the game of World of Tanks is the German Tier 9 medium tank. The E50M, which in World of Tanks is the Tier 10 German medium tank. You had the E75, which is in the game is a German Tier 9 heavy tank. And then, of course, if I recall, there was an E90 or something. I don't exactly remember what that looked like. There was some concept art that made it look like it did. And above that, there was the E100. Now, of any of the tanks that I mentioned with the E-Series, only the E100 was ever considered to be built. But the thing was, the prototype wasn't even finished by the time the Americans captured it at Paderborn in Germany in 1945. Believe it or not, when they entered that factory, by that time, only 3 people, were working on it. Can you believe that? Its turret wasn't there. It had basically the big thing that was put together was much of the chassis, the suspension wheels and the engine. Tracks were still in coils on the side. The turret was sent somewhere else due to information mishaps, and the gun was lying on the ground. It's still up for debate which gun it was. Many sources say, excuse me, that it was the 128mm KWK PAC-44. Well, that's still up for debate because if you look at a model of the E100, the 128mm would not have had a muzzle brake on it. I'm pretty sure that was a 150mm, but then again, I could be wrong because the muzzle brakes look similar. But then again, that's still up for debate. So as you saw me building here, this is what we have. These little pegs right here, as you see, these are what's going to be for the suspension. And now we work on getting even bigger pieces on board, so it's showing we need 3 with 20 prongs. So that means 10 on each. That means 10 on each side. So that looks like these. Yep. So we got that, and we need 3 of them. Pick a card, any card. And we also need more of the half by 2s. So I'm gonna just put myself up there. And we need 10 more of them, so this time we're going to make sure that we grab the correct pieces. Alright, so we should have them all now. So we're just going to line them up and check. And there we go. So we're all set, and now we're going to get moving on with the next step. Because as we got this thing going, we want to keep it going. Because guess what? The kit's only as done as you can make it. So we just gotta keep basically keep your nose to the grindstone, you know? Alright, and here we go. So, here's what it looks like so far. I know you guys can't really see it. Well, let it focus. There you guys go. And now we're flipping the page, and we're moving on to the next thing. There's the page right there. Alright, so now we need some more. So let's see now. So we need some, what are known as 2x7s here. So these are unique ones. And I already found one. I just gotta find the next one, basically. The cheeky little buggers, they're hiding in the bush. There we go. So, we got the 2 2x7s, we need 3 2x6s, which are here, here, and here. And we also need one 1x, I think that's it, 1 2x8. I was about to say a 1x8, but that's not a single, because that's a double right there. And we need what looks like a 1x10. So let's see, that's probably one of these long ones in here. And there we go, perfect. It's all lined up, so now we can start putting these together again. Whoops. Front popped off. Alright, so we are going to move along with this, and we are going to mount. We just gotta keep putting them on and all that. And here is the next step. Awesome, isn't it? You can basically see just how it slowly comes together. Alright? So basically, that's exactly what we need to do. And we just gotta keep moving on with everything. That's literally what it is. It basically, if you don't have, I should say this, if you don't have like the patience to do this, well then, technically you should ask yourself, did you really need to buy that kit in the first place? I know that may sound a little bit ridiculous, but, well, it's the awful truth nowadays. If you're gonna be building this stuff, if you're gonna be building it, then that's exactly what you need to do. You need to have patience. And you have to be wanting to follow instructions, too. And there that goes again. But I'm sure that thing's gonna be connected soon. Like that. There we go. And there you guys go. So we have that going. See it now? There you go. And we could, oh, now we're starting to get with even bigger pieces. So we got 4x8s now. So you need one of those. We're gonna need another 2x8, like such. And we are gonna need 2x8s that are going to be thicker, which are going to be these pieces right here. You can see they're larger. And we are going to need what looks like one of these. This long piece here. There you go. So that's going to be going on the back. And we're going to mount one on the front. And there you go, there's the end of the next step. Like I said, it's basically a repetition of steps. You just keep going and you just keep building everything. Oh wow, look at that. We've already been at this an hour. Can you guys believe that? Of course, combination of me blabbing my lips off and then you guys just patiently sitting there watching me do, I guess you could say, Jack Diddley. Jack Diddley, that's a good one. So we're starting to get thicker pieces now. Now basically after this we're going to start getting into more of the brighter pieces. Meaning that a lot of these you see in these bags here, these are all going to be a lot brighter. So, well, I mean obviously they're going to be brighter because they're gray, of course. Come on, Tank Commander, you know this. But either way, that's just going to show that because we've been focusing mainly on the interior of the vehicle, and once we continue on, that's going to be moving on to the exterior of the vehicle. But we still need the black pieces in order to build up the interior. As I did say, they don't want to be doing excess gray pieces. They can't be doing so much of one color because you have to remember there are expenses in doing the business. So, bearing that in mind, we're just going to continue working. So, as you see, now things are starting to level up. Level up. Get it? Because it keeps going up and up and up. No? Didn't. So flippity page. We now get to start building some of the suspension on there. Because we're going to be adding what looks like the rear. I'm not going to look at the back. I'm not going to look at the box because guess what? That'd be cheating. And I don't want to be second guessing myself with that. So I grab pieces. Pardon. And then we are going to grab 2 of those holy end pieces. Holy end pieces. How exactly do you put that one into perspective? As some people from World of Tanks would say, don't ask me, ask the physics and realism guy. As I did say, if anybody wants to know about that, feel free to follow 06 Walst on Twitch and on YouTube. His channel is Honest Gaming. You'll have a real laugh there, I guarantee it. You may not think it because you don't like gaming. Well, guess what? You don't have to go there for gaming. You can go there for the humor. You go there for the humor and the good conversations. But again, keep it civil. Gosh, you know, saying all this stuff, I'm really starting to sound like Peabody. No offense to him. That's literally just how it is. You gotta be civil in the chat and all that, because if you're not, well, then you're gonna be making a fool of yourself and nobody else. And everybody else is basically just going to laugh at you mercilessly. But hey, we all gotta laugh at ourselves sometimes. Either way, people should know how it is now. Even though a lot don't. Alright, so we are going to pop that on there. And we have more pieces to put on here, and here, and here. And as we work, we will see how close we are getting. There we go. Alright, you guys ready? Here's the next part. Here's what it looks like. See, you got the little back extension wheels here, and you got everything else. Oh, oops! Accidentally hit the mouthpiece there. And now we move on with more pieces. These, 4 of these, and another one of these. Like I said, it's all a thing of repetition. You just keep building and building. And if any of you remember from my previous streams on YouTube, before I started doing live streams on Twitch, I would often play things like 06 Walst on my iPad, because, you know, I wanted to hear something funny that would cause me to laugh. Get a little sweat in here, so we're gonna pop open this ID. A little juice in the mustache there. Oh, and this thing popped out again. Let's see, there should be a way that I can get this on without it falling. We'll try a clip there. And you know what, never mind, because it probably looks ridiculous. We'll just pop it back through the belt. There. That should keep it out of the frickin' way. Alright, so now we are going to continue on with more. More of what did you say, Sonny? I don't know. You tell me. And then we got more of the half on tops and all on the bottom, so we are going to do that. So as you can see right here, you see the thing right there? Yeah, with the light. There you go. Everything is coming together fairly nicely, which is good. Always know to keep your nose to the grindstone and just keep working. That's literally all you have to do. And like I said, be patient, because anything like this, and whoever is in chat right now, feel free to sound off again, because that way I know that we have some dedicated followers here. And, yeah, we can continue on from there. Hopefully that sounds good. So I know it sounds good to me. And here we are with that latest part. This is going to be the opposite end. Okay, and now we are moving on with other pieces, building them up. Oh, I should also let you guys know is that if you do need space for things, always make sure you have an extra bin. That way you'll be able to keep extra pieces together. And with extra pieces, it's a very important thing that you keep them, because if you want to do, say, customizations or have to do repairs or something, you'll always be able to go back to a spare parts bin. That way you can find them. Speaking of which, I still need to find that other spare parts bin that I had. I'm not sure what the heck I did with that. But I will figure that out later, because guess what? It's just how it is, and sometimes what it is what it is. More of the flat pieces, yada yada yada. And we are actually grabbing the wheels now. As you can see, we're building these pieces here, which are the big suspension wheels. Well, I shouldn't say suspension wheels, because the suspension wheels are on the bottom. We are looking at the big idler wheels, which are going to be for the transmission and the riding of the tracks. So we're going to slap them on. And here is the finished piece for that. And we are going to take it on this side, and we are going to mount it. Just gotta let it go. And here is it so far. So you see, with the suspension wheels, in case you're wondering, the little grooves that are on the bigger wheels are for gripping the tracks and pulling it along. It's just a way of showing that it has one thing leading and one thing trailing. But no, it doesn't have a trailer, because it's not an ammunition carrier or anything, or a supply truck. Then again, that's just me sounding sick. But not twisted. Because other people can be a lot worse than that. Lol. And hey, we're putting the motor in too, so we are going to mount those together. And there you see, that's the motor right there, that gray part. Okay, and we are continuing on with more. We need some 1x6s. We're going to mount those, which are going to go here and there. I'm going to slap that right in there. And now we start putting things on the back end as well, and we are going to just continue to mount. Alright, so you see how everything is starting to get even higher up. So we'll be getting to the suspension and all that soon. But as I did say, that's not until we start opening the next two bags, well, there are 3 more bags, so once we start opening the next bag, we will be able to continue on with that. So we'll be able to go from there. I keep forgetting that we gotta put the pieces over here, that way you guys can see what's going on the screen. Alright. Let's remove these 5 pieces. These. And we'll put that up. 2 of these pieces. 2 of these pieces. Alright, so now we have this going on. We gotta put the flat piece underneath here. So I get it to snap in correctly. There we go. Then we gotta snap this in as well. And then we got two of the semi-larger pieces as we mount on top of that. And then we mount the next one on there. And then we go about and mount that right here. Just there. Take these other pieces. Apparently we need one of these too. So we're going to take that and mount this on the back. Mount this one in front of there. Take this piece, mount it there. You basically see how these things go. It's really just, it's amazing. I just get these things going, and so here you are. Next step completed. And then it seems to me like we are starting to do part of the engine deck in the next step. So you can see that right here. I know because of the glare, it's kind of hard to see. Let me see. I know it's kind of hard because literally you're seeing this light that's right up here. So I apologize if you guys are just seeing nothing but a glare. So I'm going to just continue on with that. And hopefully, if you guys can give any feedback, you can let me know if anything seems off. Which I'm hoping not much is, because I worked real hard to try and get this stream back together. And start this whole thing anew. Just gotta keep popping them on. Pop, pop, pop. And right there. Alright, so that's that part so far. So we also need more of the black pieces. If you'll say that my hands are moving rather quickly, it's because like once I get into the zone of something, I'll start building things, and literally I won't stop until the whole thing's done. So it's just a thing that I've grown to do over the years. Like once I get in the mood for something, I'll literally start doing it, and I won't stop until it's done. So here's this so far. Don't exactly know what it is, but I'm sure we're going to find out soon enough. Oh, yeah, of course. Make that a little bit tighter. I don't need things falling off or anything. Even though I did kind of do my, yeah, never mind. Nothing important. Just the way things roll. Okay, and just keep going. Alright, so now we're moving on to the gray pieces that are here. And I think we're just about moving on to the last pieces in bag one, so I think we can say it is safe to say that we are going to be moving on real shortly. Some of these can tend to be a little bit stiffer than others, so you gotta kind of finagle them in a little bit. There we go. Okay. Alright, just make sure all this is secure. Yeah. It's really interesting how those pieces are resisting going in all the way sometimes. Alright, so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So what exactly is this? So we are apparently mounting this on the side of the engine over here. Interesting. That I built this whole entire assembly for just one side of the tank. Destroyer. Thank God I jumped on myself right there, because you don't want to be claiming that you were doing one thing and then saying that and then doing that another, because that's just hypocritical. Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, bag number 1 is done. We are now moving on to bag number 2. So let's cut this baby open. Alright. That. Oh, I know what that part is for. But we'll find out that once we get on with it. Now, I'm sure in the future I may get into streaming World of Tanks and whatnot, but I would love to stream World of Tanks Blitz, which is the mobile version. But the thing is, if you're going to stream that from a computer, you have to have what's known as a capture card. And those things are some pricey little devils there. Like I saw, like there's one capture card that I think was like over $200 or something. And it's like, no way, I am not spending that money at the moment. But that'll be taking away from what I'm hoping my primary job will be as a history professor. So, but then again, that's just me just yapping off at my hopes and dreams of things. And we're focused. I gotta tell you, I gotta just say to myself, Tank Commander, focus on your stream. People are focusing on this, not your frickin' hopes and dreams. Wake up and smell the coffee. Oh yeah, well hey, guess what? On the other side of myself, I don't drink coffee. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, I admit that could have been better, but hey, sometimes things just come off the top of your head and you just gotta say it out loud. But, that's just me, so, what can I say? You'll notice a lot of these I'm not necessarily cutting open because, well, a lot of them don't necessarily need to be cut open. Things that have like the little, what do you call it, like the little pull things, those tend to do alright. And, basically saying is put the bags that don't have the holes in them have to be cut. So, garbage in the bag, in the box, and we are moving on. So we are moving on with the other side of the engine deck now. So we are grabbing more of those pieces, and we are going to continue on. So we gotta grab more of these side pieces. We need 5 of them, and then a shorty. Alright, so basically same as the side. And yeah, so we're basically just following repetition here. Alright, one piece is hiding from me. I think that's it. Yep, there we go. Alright. what we got. So for harder pieces, because I can't see the sign on the thing, we're gonna have to count from here. So let's see, from the back. We need 8 open. So all right, there's our magical spot. So here's what we got so far of it. And we're going to put the exact plate away first, of course, so we don't hurt ourselves. Flip the page, we are grabbing more pieces. Alright, who's hiding from who? I see we are starting to grab a slightly darker gray piece and some other lighter gray pieces. Interesting. Didn't think we were gonna get 3 color types in this kit. So here we are. There's the next thing. I should say that's the next part, not the next step. We're working on the next step right now, I should say. Grab flat. Okay. Oh, I did almost forget a piece. Where are you? Are you? Nope. Need a slightly larger flathead piece. Where is it? Where am I looking? There you are. Even experts have trouble finding pieces like that. Granted, I'm not a very big expert, but I know enough to show that this is exactly how things need to go. Alright, so now we're going to mount this thing on the chassis now, and it's going the exact opposite of the previous set. Careful there not to press too hard. Alright, and here is what we have so far of the completed vehicle. And now we are starting to add pieces to secure these things to it. Okay, so now we are gonna start mounting pieces on it. Oh, interesting. I did not see that part. Okay, so we gotta mount 2 pieces on the back as well. So just slap those in right there and right there. Okay, so now, here we have it, folks, and I will switch to the back to show you the pieces I was talking about. See them right there? Right up there at the top. Okay? And you can see how big this thing is gonna get. So, as I did say, you gotta be ready to. These things take up space, so you need to have the necessary space for them. All right, so now what looks like is looks to me like we're going to start building the hull front. That very angled piece of armor that drives people nuts. And this is going to be started building upside down. So we're going to continue on with that. All the way around. Come on, Tank Commander. Focus. Alright, so we have this set up here. These here. Put that up top. And these on the sides. Okay. So next we move to that, and we grab one of these and one of these. And we're going to grab some other gray pieces. Okay, and we are going to continue by mounting these on there. Now remember, you gotta push pretty hard to get these things on. Alright, so see, there's the start of it. So it still needs to be flipped over, so don't be attempting to flip it over just yet. We also need to add end pieces. And we need some right angle pieces. Right angles are basically these V-shaped pieces right here. You see that? Alright, so now we're going to start mounting these. I always find it funny the fact that, like, when you can just, in the game, like, this thing is just so god-awfully powerful, and, of course, in World of Tanks Blitz, they have now added those Japanese tank destroyers. I'm still going to voice my opposition to the fact that they won't add low-tier tank destroyers anymore, apparently because of their meta and all that, and because it just wouldn't, I guess you would say, wouldn't seem right. But a lot of the original World of Tanks Blitz players, like myself, would greatly appreciate it if a lot of those tanks could come back, which is why today I actually submitted tickets to Wargaming, so I could get my older collectible vehicles back, which I greatly appreciate. So hopefully I'll continue to get all of them back. I did also notice that apparently, according to the Wargaming portal, is that at some point they had a tank that was there that was, anything that goes into Blitz obviously started off in World of Tanks. Apparently they had a beta test for what was known as the KV-220. I had no idea that that was even there, but apparently it never got beyond beta test. So I would have loved to have gotten that as a collector's vehicle. That would have been fun. But anyway, here is the latest step, so you can see how it is looking, and to me, that is looking like that is starting to pop off, so let's fix that. And we are going to continue on with, we have angled pieces to add now, so let's find those. Where are we looking? Where? Now, where is it? Where am I looking? Let's do it here. Very sharp angled pieces, you can see right there. See that? There. And then we are grabbing some other angled pieces for the sides, and we are grabbing small pieces for, I'm guessing, what are probably going to turn into the headlights. So we are going to mount that and that. Turn that there, there, inside there, and there. Okay. So now this is starting to look like a hull front. You can start to recognize by the curves that will eventually turn into the are basically the representations of the armor welds that we have there. Alright, and we are going to continue with more pieces. We are adding some angled pieces on the front, so we're going to do that. Alright, so you can see how they're coming together now. Set that down. Ah, yes, so we are going to have a... Okay, so I see what is going to be for the front. These are going to be those little towing things. They're basically these little hooks that are connected that you hook the towing bars into. And now we're going to start building the headlight on the front. So this has only one headlight. As I said, these pieces are very small, so you want to make sure that you don't lose them. Because if you lose them and you don't have replacements, you're basically done. Okay? And now we're going to be adding on one of these pieces, so we're going to connect that there. Alright? And we're going to mount that on the hull. And there you go. There's what you can see. There's the headlight and the towing things. And now we are going to just set that aside a moment because we have another part of this thing to build. Oh, see? I grabbed the wrong pieces again. Yeah, no, you people can laugh at me all you want. It's just a little thing that happens when you're building. You just get in that zone, and sometimes you realize you're so far in the zone that you make a very big mistake about. And, well, then you learn the hard way. Alright, so we're going to turn that there. Slide those there. And there. So this is another part of this that we are continuing on with. I was about to say starting off right there. Alright, so we're grabbing one of these pieces, and then we have these unusually curved pieces here. I've never seen these before. These are some interesting pieces. I mean, granted, you see a lot of interesting pieces because with Lego, you can basically, with things like Legos and whatnot, you can basically, you can turn anything into anything, basically. Okay, so now we're starting to add this onto the bottom of the hull there. So we are going to do that and slap that in place. Alright, mount that there. Let's fix the light before it accidentally falls out. We got to add it. Nearly dropped it. That's what I said. It's one of those little risks that you have when you get into the zone. You get into the zone and then it's like, oh, me butterfingers. Exactly that happens. Oop, pardon me there. So we're going to turn that, and then we have to take this, and we are going to stick that down there. Oop. Stick that in there, and we're going to close these down. And then we have to mount some of these single by 7s. Wow. Singles by 7s. How exactly does that work? Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So here, look at this. here we have the front hull of the Jagdpanzer. The front hull of the Jägerin. I still wonder what exactly that means. I've literally typed that into like translations and stuff, and I still can't figure out what it means. I'm guessing it's probably a meme name. I'm sure people could probably answer that in chat if they know it. I'm not saying they will know it, but if they do know it, they can feel free to share their knowledge with me. Because knowledge is power. Oops, sorry. I just need to check one little thing real quick. Okay, I was just checking over pieces just to make sure, because you know how things are, and they'll tend to go, they'll go all over and so on and on and on and yada yada yada. But hey, I have fun with this stuff, so we are going to just continue on with it. And pieces are trying to fly away on me. I'm like, pieces can't fly, they don't have wings. Alright, so just continuing these. Now, in case you're wondering, anybody in chat who's still watching, the reason why the engine is up front for this vehicle is because it's a casemate tank destroyer. And the thing is, with a lot of those tank destroyers, it was very tricky, because when you mounted things like that, you mounted these giant casemates on these chassis, it was hard because the crew compartment took up so much of the vehicle. You either had to put it in the front and the engine would go in the back, which is similar to the Jagdtiger and the Jagdpanther and the previous Jagdpanzers. But because this thing has such a big gun on it and all that, this vehicle had to have its casemate put to the back. However, there were two designs for this. In fact, I think three. This was the Jagdpanzer E100 Phase 2. The Jagdpanzer E100 Phase 1 had a hull that looked more similar to a Jagdpanther, just scaled up. And then there was also known as the Jagdpanzer A100 Krokodil, which basically looked more like, I guess you could say, a supersized E25 or something like that. But that's besides our point, so we need to continue on because we are moving on with more of the pieces. Because guess what? We have to continue the kit because the stream ain't gonna end until the kit is built. Alright, so if you're looking real closely here, we now have these pieces which have these little details on them. You see right there, those little I'm not gonna say necessarily hatches, but yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is you just gotta turn these and basically however they gotta go. Okay, so I see. You're going to turn that way. You're going to turn this way. Like I said, building these things are very difficult sometimes, so you always want to make sure that you're watching what you need to do and follow instructions, because following instructions is the most important part of it. Even though instructions may seem a little bit boring to follow, well, you'll be the one that'll be getting upset with yourself because you didn't follow the instructions, would you? Alright, so now we're adding some hinged pieces here and here. So grabbing more smaller pieces as we speak, and continuing to mount more of these. And now we're going to add these on the back here. Now what you're going to wonder what these are is these are going to form, if you remember me speaking about it earlier, these are going to be part of the side skirts, or in German they say Schürzen. Sorry if you heard me groan or something there. I was not intending to do that. But I'm glad that we have at least a couple of viewers with me that are still alive and kicking. Because guess what? If you're still doing that, that's showing that you have your loyalty. And I am grateful to have viewers that are being the best that they can. So props to you guys for whoever is still around. So, yeah. Alright, so now we're adding all these. We're finally starting to add up on the hull, and then we're probably going to start building up the casemate, or superstructure, I should say. So here you see with this now, you can see how it's actually starting to look like a chassis. Because that's just the way it goes. And hopefully everybody is learning something with this. Because that's what I try to do. I try and do these streams to help people learn about this stuff. Learn something that most history people don't learn in school. Or mostly something that things don't teach you. Or basically things that you would prefer to look up. Well, guess what? You can feel free to look up right here. But I am hoping to improve my stream over time. Like I said, this is my first stream back since I did mine last year, and I'm hoping that... So here is here's another update, as you're seeing. These are small updates, but I'm sure you can obviously already tell that this is just the way that building these things go. You gotta follow things step by step. And literally all you gotta do is just continue following them, because guess what? Instructions are useful, because if you don't follow them, well, you're gonna be the one that's gonna end up in the wrong. Unless you get incredibly lucky and you manage to do something right, just like not as expected. So we are mounting what are apparently going to be the hinges for the hatches on board this thing. So hopefully this will be great. Just seeing things pop up on things. I just have a little thing going in the background. You can't hear it because I have decided to keep the sound quiet, because guess what? We gotta focus on the stream, and the stream is what is important. Alright, so we're just doing that. So we are moving on with adding more items to the list of pieces that have already been added. We're adding some interesting... Okay, so these are probably going to be the fans for the engine, as I can deduce from it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so here is what we have... Oh, no, not so fast, Takeman, not so fast. There we go. So here it is so far. As you can see how this is starting to turn out. And we continue to move on. We are moving on with other pieces for what appears to be the back side. So we will add this and add that. These are going to be going to the back. Obviously for application with the Schürzen. I also encourage you guys that if you do hear these terms that I'm saying, try and remember them, because any terms that you can use for like history, conversation, and whatnot, people will understand what you're saying if you manage to discuss it, and if you manage to keep it in your head. So we are apparently building the engine hatch right now. You know, I keep forgetting, I gotta build it down here so you guys can see. And once again, I know it's hard with the shadow. It's just, I can't really add any other lights anywhere. It wouldn't necessarily work. And besides, I can't really, I can't pull this back any further because I'd literally be hitting my own bed. Alright, so now we are going to, so here is the hatch, as you see, with these little bumps. So we are going to slap that in place. Just need to get them all lined up, for God's sake. Go. We're going to close that. And then here we are, ladies and gentlemen. So you're seeing this come together quite nicely, I should say. And now we are adding the hatches. We're going to close them up. There we go. And now we are also we're also adding a hammer and an axe to this. So here we got the little hammer, or how we like to call it here. Sometimes we call it the boom boom. And we have the axe right here. I know it's kind of hard because it won't necessarily zoom in on the things, so whatever, it's just how it is. And here it is after that step, so it's coming along. Let's pull all the pieces over here. And here we go. Here's the next one. Oh, I see we have to add some other things on the back, so we will do that. Connect those babies up. Alright, there we go. I'm going to flip to the side. We are now adding even more pieces. So we're starting to build up the inside of the superstructure, which is that really big armored casemate that protects this thing from all withering fire, unless it is gold ammunition from something or one another. But yeah, I mean, it's coming together, and I'm really enjoying this. And I'm sure all of you who are following along are enjoying this too. Because as I have said, if you guys are following this channel, I'm hoping you guys are enjoying and watching my content. Because if you're just here and you don't enjoy the content, then I do ask that you leave. It's nothing personal. I just don't like to have people here who don't like my content. And I understand you'll probably disagree with me, but like I said, it is just my opinion, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I see now we're starting to add the mount for the gun. Go. So here's the big mount for the gun, right there. And we're going to slap that on the front right here. We're going to slap 2 gray pieces on the back. So here we are with it right now. I know the thing is a little bit askew, so I'm just going to fix that. So there you go. And we continue on with all this. So we have some things for the front. So those have to go on these sides here. Slap that on, grab the gray pieces as shown, and slap these on there. We got some more pieces for the back, or the rear of the tank destroyer, as I should say. So as you can see how this is starting to come together. The hull is starting to look like a hull, but we still have much more to go off of with this. Because we still got 2 more freaking bags to build. And within each of those bags, we got several little bags on top of the bags. So, I applaud everybody who is still here following this. I applaud you all for showing that you do care about this content. And I do hope I do not know if I'm going to do it on Friday nights anymore. I may consider doing them, say, possibly Friday mornings, maybe? I do not know. I will think about it. We will have to find out because, like I said, I haven't been at live streaming in a while, so we will definitely be finding out at some point, but hey, it's still, the stream's still young, because things are still getting built, and I am glad that people are still showing their enthusiasm in chat. Alright, so now we are going to add the piece that is actually going to be for elevating the gun. So, snap that on in. There we go. And we are going to mount it on the front of the little pendulum, I guess you could say. So, if you're looking right here, so you look right here, you watch this. Here, I can just get the thing. So you can see how that moves. That's for the gun. And now we are going to slap more of these on here. Okay, so seeing this is the end of the bag. So what we need to do is, we got the extra pieces here. We're going to put them in our little extra parts bin, which is currently down out of sight. In fact, we're just going to bring the extra parts bin up, and we are actually going to put it over here. Okay? And now we cut open bag number 3. We got more bags to open. We got just bags upon bags upon bags. say before, make sure you have everything you need, because guess what? Sometimes pieces go missing, and then you notice, like, literally right out from under your nose or something, and then you just gotta either laugh or at yourself, or scold yourself, or anything. So, and I realize, like, the time that you're seeing me on this, and I know there's, like, a delay for it, like, however many seconds between me presenting this and it getting to your screens. So, just remain optimistic, alright? Always check and make sure that if there are, like, any of those little teeny tiny pieces that you just can't find, make sure that you check through a bag and make sure that every single piece is out of there. Because I'll tell you this much, anytime that I've always wondered if there was, like, pieces missing or whatnot, believe me, I get really, really upset about it. But frankly, I get more upset with myself, because I'm the lunatic that completely forgot about it. I'm just one of those, the fumbling pumpkins. Right, bag going in the box. That literally just ignored things, and it's just like, what are you doing? That's exactly what I'm saying. I literally sound, I swear to God, I literally sounded like I was talking to one of my cats right there. That's literally how I talk to them. In a sense. It's just amazing how, like, certain things just completely just sound so out of place. So out of place. Okay, so, as you can see now, we have this here. This is literally what it's turning into. But again, remember, it's still... We still have one more bag after this, and this is probably going to be the hardest one, because as any of you that have followed my stream before will know, the tracks are some of the hardest things to put together, by far. Alright, so we continue on adding more pieces. So we are going to just continue on with things. Just mop them up. And if you guys have any suggestions for anything, feel free to speak up in chat, like I have said before. I know that my content is not the best right now, but I mean, that's just how the stream is currently, because this is the first stream that I have done in a few months. So yeah, I mean, I try my best to make you guys happy, but like I said, it's gotta be you guys that gives the feedback. So again, feel free to speak up in chat about anything. And at this point, that goes, I'll just say, that goes double for you, House Seller. That goes double. Alright, so we are continuing. Okay, well, here, I forgot to show you guys this. So, as you can see, it's starting to build up even more. So, I will continue on with that. So we literally got to flip like half of these, majority of these pieces over, because half of the things you can't see. Alright, so we're gonna put these things on. Oh dear. popped part of the engine hatch down, so I gotta fix that. But like I said, you gotta be gentle with these things. You gotta be gentle. And now we move on to the flatter top pieces. So that's exactly what we're going to move to. Look at that. I grabbed that piece at random. Easy does it. So now you can see how the roof of the casemate is starting to come together. You can see just exactly how this is. So, but I know it still doesn't look like what you would think it would look like. However, it's just, I don't really know how to speak for that one. But you know something? It's coming along, so that's literally exactly what I'm going to say. It's coming along. And now we're going to add the big commander's hatch at the top. Alright, now we're adding some round pieces now. And then we add another one of these here. So these are angled. Okay, and now we're also going to be adding the back doors to this thing. Now, in case anybody's wondering what these doors are where you would load the ammunition for the main gun. And as I did say, this thing has a 170mm gun on it. That's 170. 170mm. Whopping cannon. It's one of the biggest cannons in the game. I'm quite positive that the only cannon in the game that is bigger than it is the 183mm that you find on the tank known as the Death Star. Which in common terms, for anybody who doesn't know meme names, that is the British Tier 10 tank destroyer, the FV-215B-183. I know, that is a mouthful. The FV-215B-183. Alright, so, with the hatch done and the back doors, so here you can see, this is the hatch right here. And then you turn it around to the back. Those right there are the ammunition loading doors. So, we are continuing on, and we're going to be adding more things to it. So, yeah, we are doing quite amazingly so far, I'd say. Oops. Come back here, you little rascal. So we're going to continue on with things, and let me see how this goes. Here, and then here, and then we're adding a really, really tiny piece here. It's kind of like a nail here, I guess you could say. And you can see the minor details on the top right there. You look real close so you can see. Alright, so next it looks like we are going to be adding the front, which is where the gun is going to be. So we're going to follow very closely with the instructions and not louse anything up. you know, I just realized I grabbed the wrong pieces yet again. Like I said, even people like me who have been building with Legos for a long time make rookie mistakes. But hey, that's just a part of the fun. You get to laugh at yourself. You get to scold yourself. You're like, oh, come on, why did you do that again? But you know, it's just the way it goes. I mean, there's not much more you can do about it. And I also just realized I put these things on the wrong piece too. So there's 2 rookie mistakes in one. So everyone feel free to laugh and chat about that, because I absolutely find it absolutely hilarious. And we just add pieces on and on and on. So, yeah. Of course, many people will find this boring, but you know something? It takes you back to the days, like, I was born in, I was born just before the end of the 20th century, alright? I was born in 98. And back then, you think about that, that was back in the days like when computers were still young, and things like YouTube hadn't come out yet, and like all this electronic stuff that we have today. Like back then, we didn't have all this stuff. We didn't have all this. Which is why back then, and still to this day, I appreciate things like, and there goes a runaway piece. Now, excuse me, one more, I gotta try and go find that. Alright, there we go. Drop a piece. Back to what I was saying, like, back then, like, all this stuff that we have today, like, this was way before much of this stuff even came out. And then when you think about all the stuff that is here today, it's like, back then I appreciated things like Legos and building things out of wood and a lot of other things. And also, I just remembered this thing that people love to do, and it's called reading books. Okay? You think about nowadays, like, yeah, there's like all these online books and whatnot, but you have to remember, there's still things made out of paper out there. And that's why I'm very antique, because a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in is just so many years before this century even started. I'm sure many of you people out there can understand this, and I'm sure, but of course many of you people probably get annoyed by it. But you know, it makes us go back to think, like, so often, we often take a lot of the stuff we have nowadays for granted. And that's why I like to do stuff like this, because guess what? It just shows that all this stuff we have, you think about the times that we are in right now, the fact that we are dealing with this virus, and so many people are left indoors and all that. People are online all the time. They're looking to listen to things and find out what is going on in the world around them. And people are looking things up. People are actually getting out there, getting online, and researching, which is one big thing that us history majors have to do. We have to research. And of course, when I like to think about that stuff, I think about World of Tanks and whatnot. It's like, what would it have been like had these things actually been into, like, actually got into service with the countries that they represented? Just picture that. You just picture what exactly would have happened had the war gone on to such a point where we'd be dealing with vehicles so massive, like the Jagdpanzer E-100. It strikes a stunningly interesting conversation. Well, although most people don't necessarily want to talk about this because they think it is null, they think it is void, they think it's got nothing to do with this day and age. Yeah, well, guess what? I mean, you look at this day and age with, like, we're in the era of supersizing things. Everything is bigger. Bigger, bigger, bigger. And you think about how things were in the past. The people wanted things just so much bigger than how their technology could provide back then. Like, you think about how big of a megalomaniac people like Hitler or people like Stalin were. The structures and things that they wanted to build. Excuse me. Things that they wanted built and all that. They wanted to go so much bigger than everybody else. Everybody wanted to outdo each other. Everybody wanted to outdo each other. In fact, everybody still wants to outdo each other today. So here we go with the next part. So this is the front. So we are going to mount that on to the front of the vehicle now. Oops, and I accidentally knocked something off the back. So I need to fix that. I'm gonna have to kind of force this thing on. There we go. Come on. And so here we have it, folks. So you can see how we have the front of the casemate starting to take shape. And now, if I'm guessing correctly, we are going to be starting to do the sides of it. So, without further ado, we are going to roll this on its way. And we got to actually take some of these pieces off here because that was from the mistake we made earlier in that step. So we are going to make sure that we do this correctly. And well, once again, I'm sure we're probably going to screw something up, so we're just going to, I guess you could say, basically roll with the punches now. I have a feeling I just said that earlier on the stream. Either way, it's funny. Sort of. Okay. Set that there, and we have yet another one to put over the center here. And now we're doing some 2x3s. And remember what I said, if you're still seeing black pieces by now, you can clearly see that we have so much that is still here to build. And which is again why I said why they can't do everything in one particular color, because that's literally just how things go with these building sets and all that jazz. And now we're going to grab another 2x3 and we're going to slap this on right there, and now we're going to start grabbing right angle pieces because we're going to start building up things to represent the side of it. And we're just going to keep clipping them into place. So as you can see on the thing right here, that's literally just, that's how it is. And now we're actually going to grab one of these large pieces here. I'm going to put that on the back. Or, I'm actually probably going to guess that's actually probably going to turn into the bottom. still got it going. I'm still glad that there are some people on board with me still. Like, they haven't gotten all bored out of their minds. So, top props for you people who are still watching. Because that's exactly how I like to see that people are. It shows that they care. Because in a society nowadays, like, it's always about, like, me, myself, and I. When back in the day, everything was, like, based around family and whatnot. And once again, I'm probably preaching to the choir about this. But you know something? Sometimes you just gotta keep reiterating it to remind people of why we are where we are. And that's really all that can be said for. Because if people want to hear more, they need to be willing to speak out. Which is what I do with this stream. I do my best because, you know something? This is exactly how things are supposed to be. We should be more open to doing stuff like this, but of course everybody, I am saying everybody is hypocritical in a sense, saying that they want to do this, do that, and of course they won't accept anything else. So basically, yeah, I mean, it's something that you really need to do. And basically, that's literally all that can be done for it. I mean, if you want something to go through, or you want something to succeed, then you gotta be willing to put in the supporting effort. So, here we are with the next piece, so you can see how my efforts are beginning to pay off, because things are coming closer and closer and closer to doing what it is, and that's completing this project. And now we're starting to add on more of these slanted sides. Okay, and now it's showing we are going to be adding even more slanted pieces in a different way, though. So that's exactly how we're going to do these things. I'm just going to move the chassis just a little, and we're going to start mounting these sides. And I shouldn't say these are slab sides like what you'd see on a Tiger tank, because as much people would say is that the Tiger tank is basically a big box with thick armor, but it's flat. So, if you wanna know how to take that thing out, basically all you gotta do is just aim to the side or whatnot, and that's literally all you have to do, because its sides are, I wouldn't say are not necessarily the weakest, but do bear in mind that they are a lot weaker than the front, because the front of the Tiger, this is what annoys me about World Tanks Blitz, is the fact that they decided to increase the armor of the Tiger on the front. I believe they decided to up the armor from 100 to 160 millimeters, which to me does not make sense, because the thing is, with these games, like, you have to remember, you have to include at least some significant amount of historical accuracy to it, because just doing whatever, you have to understand, like, it's a historic tank. A Tiger 1 is one of the most historic tanks in the world. Alright, so here we are with the completed side, so we're going to mount that on the side of the casemate. And it's often that people like me, okay, who are history people, okay, I do game. I do World of Tanks Blitz, which is a mobile game. But often people like me get very frustrating because gamers don't necessarily care about historical accuracy because it's a game. Well, the thing is, when there is a historical vehicle like the Tiger tank, you have to realize it's just what it is, because historic tanks, you can't just put them with a fictional amount of armor on there, because for one, that wouldn't make sense, and for two, that's not fair to people, because that means a lot of people are going to have to spend what's known as gold ammunition. Okay, now that's not actually gold, but, well, it can be for gold, it cannot be for gold, but making people spam premium ammunition, like, you have to understand, it's just, it's a ridiculous cycle where people often tend to just go off on these tangents and thinking that it's literally nothing. Like, Wargaming thinks it's nothing wrong. Well, technically there is something wrong with that, because it doesn't make sense. People often get into arguments over Wargaming's things, and that they say that you do need to have at least some level of historical accuracy for the vehicles in the game that actually did see service. And then them just going about and just boosting the armor of some of these tanks to basically make them impregnable, in a sense. That does not make any sense whatsoever. Which is why I get frustrated, because most people don't want to hear from me, because, for one, they know historically I am correct. Because in a sense of historical accuracy, you cannot just push things. You cannot just push things without taking into consideration the fact that, hey, maybe it's because that these things are historically inaccurate, you need to change them. But obviously, to me, Wargaming just doesn't want to. Wargaming just either doesn't want to listen or just doesn't care. And of course, I'm sure I'll probably get chastised for it by Wargaming, because, well, us history people, again, are just very underappreciated, and they usually don't want to be heard. So that's literally all that can be said for that, because, sometimes you just gotta try your best and hope that somebody over that hill is actually going to listen, because I'll tell you this much, for businesses, most of the times, big businesses, even gaming businesses, don't want to fully listen to the population of the gaming community. Which is why people like 06 Walls, when they come in and they start talking, people actually start going and they start telling this to Wargaming, and when Wargaming doesn't listen, that's when things start going downhill for Wargaming, because people are going to continue to, what's known as badger them. They're going to continue to badger them about it, and often they're going to try and get people to stop talking about it by, like, giving them these things, like giving them premium account, premium time, and basically just telling them to just go away, in a sense. But that's where people like 06 Walls come in, and their communities will go and step up and start saying, no, you need to do this, it's just how it works. In fact, I just saw a video from 06 Walls today about seeing how things are. In fact, seeing how things are, I'll show you, there's a thing. So I've literally built this entire section away from the camera, so that's a little bit of a screw up on my end. But basically, he asks questions. He asks, why is it that this is this and that is that? And it's just, it's a way to get people like those at Wargaming to wake up and smell the coffee and say, this needs to change, or this needs to make better sense. And I agree with Walsh, because even though he's not a community contributor for Wargaming, which I think he'd be a great person, although, as many gamers know, that if you were to become a community contributor, you'd have to be following Wargaming's rules, which of course many people don't want to do. But anyway, away from that, the point of that matter is that in a society where social media is a big thing and people have followers and whatnot, that's what you need to do. You need to be able to get out there and get your voice out so it can be heard. Because any time where, in this day and age, where you want to express your beliefs or something, and I may be just talking about the realm of gaming and whatnot, but if you get enough people stirred up about it, you stir up the hornet's nest enough. That hornet's nest will go over that hill and will start getting at people. Because you know something? It's just the way it is. Because if you don't pay attention nowadays, you're going to miss it. And you're going to miss it by a country mile. And that's basically that point of that conversation. But again, remember, you want to be careful with you want to be careful with people like Wargaming, because you don't want to make it look. Okay, there's your look for that now. You don't want to make it look like you don't want to make it look like you're just trying to raise a stink about things, okay? And that's one big thing that people hate about nowadays, is when people try and raise a stink about things. Like, if somebody believes in one thing, and then somebody starts saying something because they disagree with that point, well, it's because people don't like to hear about things that go against their beliefs. And well, but unfortunately, that's the job of us history majors. It's to make sure that people understand that what they're saying is wrong most of the time. And I often say this to people, is that if you're going to argue with me, you do need to have evidence to back up your claims, because in a debate, it's all about evidence. And the thing is, that's because in the conversations that Walsh sparks on his Twitch stream, which, believe it or not, tomorrow, starting at like 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which translates to 3:30 p.m. Greenwich Median Time, which is England. So we got our extra pieces, and we're gonna toss them in the extras bin. You'll be able to follow his stream. So I intend on going on there and following his stream all weekend as usual, because, hey, his streams are awesome and they're funny and everything. So now it's time to cut open bag number 4. We are at the final bag, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? We're finally there. We're finally coming up on the final pieces of the kit. So we are now going to start cutting these bags open and start putting together the final pieces. again, just gotta start putting the bags back in the trash bag for when it's done. Now, the one thing that I don't like to do is I don't like to take the track links out right away, because you'll often get extra links and all that, so you can basically put those on other vehicles. That's one thing that I love about vehicles that you get like from Kobe and Lego and all that, is that you can customize them to your liking and all that, because it's fun. It shows you that there's like, it's like Lego. You have this incredibly large number of like infinite possibilities, and that's what should encourage people to think outside the box sometimes. Now, of course, a lot of people won't like to think outside of the box at all, but you know something? Sometimes that's how it is. So, because of this, we are going to put bag 4 away, but you see the 2 bags of tracks that we have right here. So, those are going to be for when it's time to put the tracks on, and we will throw the plastic in the box once it's all set. So now we are going to start with the building of the final steps here. And so we start with this interesting piece right here, this little interesting curve piece, and we're going to be mounting that on the top, because that's going to be the commander's cupola, which is where the top 20mm autocannon is. And you'll see that once I finish that, and I'll be able to show you the piece once it is there. And then once this is done, this will be going down in the basement where everything is. And the reason why I say this is because my room is specifically for model display. However, I do not have the room up here to fit this. So, that's why we have some designated storage areas downstairs where we can put things. So here you go. As you can see with the thing, this is the signature 20mm autocannon turret on the top. So, and now it seems we are now going to be building the side skirts now, the shortsen. So as you should know, basically what you've got to do is you just got to follow along with things, and remember that when you build these things, always remember to watch what you're doing, because again, mistakes can happen, and sometimes if you don't watch, those mistakes will end up making you look like you did something stupid. And of course, I don't usually use that kind of terminology for that, but sometimes it's just kind of, well, true. That's really all I can say. So you can see now, in case you're wondering what these prints are on here, on these pieces, these are supposed to be bolts. They're supposed to be big bolts that are supposed to represent, well, obviously, bolts, of course, that are for the suspension. Because with this, it's something that is different with this. The bolts, well, obviously, the bolts are meant to bolt the side skirts to the chassis. Okay? And these are very, very large bolts. So basically, what can be done is a simple thing. And literally, all you have to do when you build these things is that when you build them, there's literally it's pretty straightforward, actually, when you come to think about it. And when you decide to put these things together, and 2 and 2 equals 4 and all that, it's literally quite simple. I mean, if you go to World of Tanks and you look at the Jagdpanzer E100, you'll see exactly what I mean with these things. My hair is starting to flop down on me. Okay, so here is a completed side skirt. So what we need to do is we need to turn this vehicle around because it's time to mount this puppy. So what we need to do is we need to get this snapped on quite snugly. Alright? So here you have it. There's the completed side skirt for the right side. In naval terminology, it would be starboard side, but of course this is not a naval vessel. This is a German super heavy tank destroyer, or eine deutschen sehr schwer Panzerjäger. I know you probably didn't understand a word I said, but literally that's how you say super heavy tank destroyer in German. Sehr meaning super, schwer meaning heavy, and Panzerjäger meaning tank hunter. So now you there's another lesson that you have for tonight, and I hope that all of you will continue to remember these things that I say, because learning history, I understand, is something that people never really like to do, but it just goes to show you how people interpret the world. Because the thing is, most people, and this is, granted, my opinion only, it's in my personal opinion that literally most people look at the world through this lens that just basically literally turns them into something that is negative and gets very upset with things when they hear things that they don't like, and then they'll start touting this opinion. But it goes to show you, it shows you, if you know something. Alright, so here's the next part of that, so we're going to be putting this on. Here's what I like to think. If you know at least one thing about history, then it's at least one thing that is a lesson that can be taught to people who don't understand it, and then could potentially have a change of their outlook or something on life. Alright, so here are the completed side skirts. So next, let's see what we're doing next. So seeing by what we are doing now is, I am guessing we are potentially building, I want to guess is probably something for the back. Slap that there. Alright, so we have to grab hinged pieces again. Now, here's the thing with these hinged pieces. You see the little hinges right there? You gotta snap into these slots here. You take the larger piece and you put it on top of the smaller piece, and then you press down, and then you hear a snap. It's a lot harder if you attempt to do it the other way around, which is when you put the longer piece under the shorter piece, and you try and push down on that. That makes it even more difficult, and I don't encourage anybody to do that. So as I have seen, we are continuing on with things, continuing to mount more and more pieces on this. It looks to me like this is probably going to be the back of the hull. I could be wrong, but we shall find out. But seeing that there are going to be these little pieces for the towing cables and whatnot, I think I can probably at least assume that this is potentially going to be the back, because we already put the ones on the front, so clearly this has probably got to be the back. I'm not going to say I guarantee it, because if I say I guarantee it and it appears to be something else instead, then that's going to make me look like a fool. And of course that's going to make you guys laugh, because it is hilarious. Okay? So it seems that are we supposed to have like some sort of track link piece that goes onto this? Because it looks like there's supposed to be a track link piece that goes onto this. Well, that's probably going to be from the track bags, so tell you what, that's what we're going to do. We are just going to crack open one of the track bags, because it says we need one link, so I'm going to pull that out. So these are the giant track links that are for this thing. This thing is big compared to other kits that I've built. And then we are going to schlep these up underneath on the bottom like it shows. Yep. I see. Alright, we'll just fix that. Time to grab the brick remover, and we're going to, because this is wrong, we're going to prop this up underneath, poke it in, and then we're going to just pry it off gently. That way, again, we don't need to see any screw-ups or anything. Okay, so now it's saying we also need to add circular pieces to the housing here, so we're going to do that. And we are going to slap that on there. And then we have to turn this over and grab some ridged pieces, and this piece, and a flat piece as well. And we're going to put these on the bottom. And then we put this on the middle. And there you go, that's this piece right here. And then it shows we have to flip. Oh, box fell over. I say flip and the box flips. We gotta prop this there. So before I do that, I'm just gonna grab the box and pull it back up. Right there, just prop it there. And then it's showing that we need to stick this on like this. And then put this on like that. Oop. I missed it by a little bit, so we just need to fix that. This apparently needs to clip in there. Oh dear, what happened? So this thing went a joyride, so I gotta go put these back on. So what do we have here? Oh, I see. So I actually made a mistake earlier on in this, so I actually need to fix that. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take one of these, and I'm going to have to pry this up. So we'll just put these in, we'll just stick that under there, and under here. This is why I said always read the instructions, folks, because again, if you make a mistake like this, it's going to be really hard to fix them if you don't notice them. Okay, so now that we got this and we got it all fixed, so let's close the ammunition doors again, and we're going to try this again. We're just going to stick that there, and then we're just going to gently pry that up. There we go. And there, now the back hull is secure. And I accidentally broke off the headlight, so let's put the headlight back on again. Okay, that's better. Alright, folks. And there we have it. We have the back of the hull. Look at that detail there. Isn't that nice? And so now we are going to flip this, and we are now going to add these suspension wheels to this. So again, you gotta remember, this thing has staggered positions for these, so we have to put them in as such. So we're going to be putting in the inner ones first on both sides. So as you can see how it goes with the inner ones first, because as I did say, they are overlapping. They're overlapping road wheels, so... And the light fell off again, so I'm just gonna mount that back on again. Like I said, you gotta be careful with these things. And now we have to put on the outer road wheels, so we're gonna take those, and we're gonna slap them on. Pardon me again, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, darn it. So now you can see with this now, that's exactly what I meant by overlapping road wheels. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's where it comes to one of the most tricky parts of the build. We now have to do the tracks. So it's saying there are 41 of these, so and you have to do per side. That's 41 of these track links per side. So, what I like to think of is when you do this, basically, you build them in groups, alright? So, you think, what can I do this as? Well, plain and simple. First off, there are 41 of them, so you have to think of it like, say, if you do it for 42 of them, you build 6 links of 7, only one of them is going to have 6. So, that's exactly what we're going to do. And you keep track of them. And when you press these down, they go into the little links, and you want to be careful because these things are still fragile. And as I've said before, it is basically just repetition, repetition, repetition. That's literally all you guys have to do when doing these things. Also, just remember that after building these for however long, you're going to realize that your fingers are going to get pretty red from it. So, don't be surprised if your fingers are a little raw because all the blood rushed to your skin from it. So, yeah, it's just how it comes out, really. That's all I can really say. Because people have seen me build these kits several times before. And literally, it's literally just what happens, because over time, your skin just gets raw. Get this back on there. Come on. Alright, so we're at 5 things of 7, so we gotta do one more, and then we gotta make that of 6. Again, because it's 41, not 42. Okay, and there we have that. So now we're going to attach all the tracks together. Alright, and then what we have to do is we now have to attach this thing onto the tank. So what we need to do is we actually have to feed this through the bottom, through the overside here. And once you get it to the gear, to the thing that the tracks go through, you can basically feed it through like a gear. And then we're going to spin it onto the bottom. And then make sure that it's actually in the correct slot, because obviously that hasn't gone in far enough. And we are going to put that together. And then we gotta get it with a snap. There we go. And there you see, we have our first track. So, and look at that, the light actually stayed on. And then push the spare track links aside. Don't just put them in the spare parts bin just yet, because potentially they may have to go on the side of the tank or something. So we will find that out. But once again, we have to build the next set of tracks. So, like I said, 5 of 7. But of course, you have to do 5 of 7 and 1 of 6. Alright, so we're coming up on the last one for 7 track links. Alright? And there we go. So now we do one more with 6. Alright, so again, move the spare track links to the side, and we attach the entirety of the track together. Okay. And so again, we feed the track through the backside of the side skirts. Alright, so we now have that, and we attach it together. And you know what? I think I just noticed something that I missed on this side skirt, so we now have to pry off that part of the side skirt so we can fit a piece on that we were forgetting. Like I said, rookie mistakes. And so we flip this over, and we now have a vehicle that is completely on tracks now. Alright, Lego's amazing. And now we come to the biggest part of it, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, we are building the gun. We are building the massive 170mm main gun that likes to tear through armor like a hot knife through butter. Voice cracked a little bit with that. That just shows you how intimidating it is. Such an interesting thing, how such one vehicle stalking in the wilderness can just want to instill this feeling of fear, knowing that if you come into its crosshairs and it gets its shot in, you are not going to survive the battle. You are going to take that hit, and it is going to hurt a lot. Unless, of course, RNG decides to make a funny bit out of you and say that, oh look, something just hit me. But guess what? It's alright, because it didn't hurt anyway. Little interesting thing there. That's the funny thing about RNG. RNG meaning random number generator. Okay? So see right there how it's starting to come together with that? It's something that really comes to annoy people sometimes. In certain ways, it especially annoys Quickie Baby, because certain things just happen, and then all of a sudden, like, everybody just wonders, like, why in God's name did that not work? Or, like, this one thing that should have gone in, like, it should have penetrated the enemy tank's armor or whatnot, and it just doesn't happen. It's a thing, because RNG, there's the thing, RNG is just so trollish. Like, it will troll you, meaning it's going to be a nuisance to you. And you think about all the things that go together, it's a crazy cycle, where literally you think that it's one thing, but in actuality it's another. Like, I'm sorry if you people can't piece together what I'm trying to say. It's literally this thing where you want to see something happen, but yet it doesn't, because it's literally how the game is or whatnot. It's a simple, it's what RNG does. Like, sometimes RNG will be absolutely incredible to you, and it'll be very forgiving. Sometimes it is not forgiving at all, and it will hit you in the face until you bleed. I know that's kind of an awful thing to say, but you know something? It's just the way certain things are, because let's face it, with RNG, anything is possible. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I am saying this, but take a look at this, because here is the gun, ladies and gentlemen, and we are now mounting this bad boy on the tank. And we got a couple of the things that have to be mounted as well. Alright, so this is why these extra track links have been saved for us, because we actually do have to mount them on the sides of the casemate of the vehicle. They're basically like a mode of spaced armor, you could say. Alright, so we take these little mount pieces and we connect two pieces of track together, and we put these little mount pieces on here, and each and every one of these spots right here, we clip them too. So we just basically mount everything. We basically mount all of these on the sides of the vehicle's casemate, and that is basically, I guess you could say, it is a mode of spaced armor, in a sense, you could say. Now, naturally, I find it, of course, another reason it could be, would be, like, say, you need, like, spare track links in case, like, say, in combat, your track gets blown off and you need to replace it or something. But when I think about it, I find it funny to think about, because the armor of this tank is just so thick. The spaced armor of these tracks would kind of be negated in a way, because the armor's already so thick as it is. I guess you could say the part of the design is the fact that it's the megalomania and paranoia of Adolf Hitler, just wanting to build more and more for these ridiculous designs that just would never come to be. Like, as I did say, only the E100 ever came to be as a partial prototype, and unfortunately after the war they scrapped that thing, which I think it actually would have been interesting. Say that the Tank Museum in Bovington, England got their hands on that vehicle, and they could have literally completed the construction of it. I know it would have been kind of ridiculous, but it shows that such rare vehicles could have been put to use as like education for those who had no idea what it was, and they could have literally just taken this vehicle and completed the construction of it. Like, for example, the Tank Museum has a Panther tank, which has a very unusual paint scheme. Now, why that is because that paint scheme is literally just a factory base coat, but just has like this interesting little camouflage painted onto it. And it was built after the war under Allied supervision. Okay? Think about what they would have done if they had done that with the E100. They could have put that on display to see, like, a tank that would have been, had it actually been completed. And here's our little minifigure here, if you can see it. So, and we can put the minifigure up here in the commander's hatch. And we can open the back and put this nifty little toolbox in there. And the spare track piece will go in the box, and we can also attach these stickers. Now, seeing the imagery in the back page, the E100 had, the Jagdpanzer E100 had a crew of 6. They had a commander, a gunner, a radio operator, a driver, and 2 loaders. Now I say 2 loaders because this thing had, of course, this thing could, because of the size of the gun, it could not have single stage ammunition for its gun, because of the reason that the gun was just so big. Okay, it came to a point where at times these tanks, and okay, I'm gonna start adding the stickers now, basically the decals. It basically came to a point where you couldn't have such big ammunition, because literally what happened is that they would become so ungodly heavy. And this goes for the fact, like, for example, the IS-2, the Russian heavy tank, that vehicle had 2-stage ammunition. They had the projectile and they had the powder charge after it. And that's why that tank that's why tanks like that with the 122mm guns took so long to reload, because it was just a thing where the ammunition was just so huge. It could not be loaded in an average way, because shells beyond a certain diameter just could not be loaded in that way, because it just wouldn't have made any sense, because people would have had to have been so superhumanly strong in order to get those shells loaded, which is exactly why with many countries, and it's not just the Russians, it is the Germans, it is the Americans, it's everybody. Everybody had to basically stop and say, this has to be like this. Okay? So, I'm finishing up by adding the stickers on this, and I hope you guys like these things, because I'm choosing some very interesting names for it. Alright? So, it's, over there. So, just hang on. And that's why I say, like, designs like this. Designs just show that these crazy vehicles just were in game. They're the stuff of legends. But the unfortunate thing is, it just doesn't work. They just don't work like they would want to be. And it's for the fact that they just don't the fact was, Hitler had these incredible ideas. But the problem was the manufacturing capacity for Germany at the time was just not up to the standard, because you have to remember, this was when Hitler was on the losing side of the war, way on the losing side of the war, and the fact that he still wanted these massive vehicles to just go out and just start blasting the living daylights out of any enemy tank that came along. It's just the fact that his psyche with things that were big, it's just this unfortunate thing where they just, at some point, they just realized that they couldn't do anything. They were saying, and it even, believe it or not, it even came down to the Battle of Berlin as well, where Hitler was basically commanding these ghost forces and the reason why I say ghost forces is because literally they had no forces left. They literally had no forces left to contend with the Russians, that's the reason why he wanted these massive vehicles. It's the unfortunate happening that his megalomaniac mind just would not stop thinking that there would always be a great comeback and all that. But the awful thing is, there was just nothing they could do about it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the finished product. We give you the Kobe Jagdpanzer E100, the mighty Jägeru. All in complete colors, stickers, and its incredible glory. And as you can see now, you can see how the gun elevates. This thing elevates pretty high, like that's some high elevation. And it's got some decent depression. And believe it or not, it has some traverse as well. Now, naturally, you're probably thinking, any of you World of Tankers out there are thinking that it just it shouldn't look like that. Well, it's the limits of Kobe blocks and whatnot. But hey, I'm glad that we were all able to come here and enjoy this stream, because this is the first stream back in a while, and I gotta say, we've been at this for over 3 hours now, and I would go on, but the thing is, we'd be going on way too long for most people to be up at this hour. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. So we are going to end it there, and feel free to leave your last minute remarks in the chat. And we are going to be ending it here. So I hope everybody did enjoy it. So we are going to go to my new end screen, and we will see you guys enjoy it. So thank you guys for the stream, and farewell.